everybody, welcome back to my channel. This is Debbie, home at Serenity Springs, and today is part 2 of my series on ways to romance your husband. And in part 2, we're going to be talking about sex as a way to romance your husband, so stay tuned. Welcome back. If you'll remember, if you watched part 1, I kind of covered mindsets that we women tend to have and ways to overcome those mindsets, and also practical ways to romance your husband and ideas of things to try. I don't think there's a single marriage that couldn't use a little spark every now and then. I've been married for 28 years, and things ebb and flow throughout the years. So as a wife who has stuck with it, and my husband who has stuck with it with each other for that long, we kind of have some things to offer, some advice that we can give to those of you who haven't been married as long, or who have been married as long but have fallen into a rut, or have fallen for the world's ways of thinking, which is always going to make things harder in a marriage. Why a video on sex as a way to romance your husband? There's several reasons that I think a woman of God, I'm a Christian, I'm unapologetically Christian, and I will come at my videos from a Christian perspective. So if that's not for you, you have the right to just skip it and delete it. Sex is holy. Sex was created by God, and He placed it into the confines of marriage. So when I'm talking to you about sex, I'm only including those who are married in my audience, because I don't think that sex should be a part of any other relationships. And the reason that God placed it into marriage is because it makes you one with your spouse. And that is a physical reality with the way that He created our bodies. It's also a spiritual reality that we can't see in the spiritual realm. Something happens when you unify yourself with your spouse. So it is a holy act. It is important. He meant for it to be important, and we should treat it throughout the years, even if we've been married for 60 years, as something that's very important in our marriage. Over the course of a year, if you racked up the amount of time that the average couple has sex, it's a small amount of time compared to the rest of the year, but it is huge when things aren't going well. So it's definitely something that needs to be addressed, something we should address, and something that we should care about making right in our relationship. So what can we do regarding sex that can help our marriage? Well, I think the first thing would be to address your mindset. Do you believe that it's important? Do you treat it as something that's important? Do you portray and communicate to your spouse that act and that their body is important to you? Because we should, as wives, communicate very clearly to our husbands that their bodies are desirable, that sex with them is desirable, and that our eyes and our bodies are only for them. There are couples, I know tons of people that joke about lusting over other people with their spouses even, and to me, especially in a Christian marriage, it is very inappropriate to joke coarsely like that. your spouse, be it your husband or your wife, but I'm only speaking to wives, is supposed to be who you only have eyes for. And we're not supposed to openly gawk or privately gawk at anybody else. So that would be the first thing I would want to say. The second thing I want to say is that our bodies as Christians are supposed to be available to our spouses. And we are not supposed to reject our spouse's advances towards us. So, if you've made it a habit to reject sex in your marriage, and you don't have a valid reason, a valid medical reason, or you've just given birth to a child, then you definitely need to correct that. If your spouse doesn't even approach you anymore because he knows what you're going to say, you definitely need to correct that. And that would be on you to fix that in your marriage. Let's see. God created men to need sex regularly. And, of course, that's going to vary from relationship to relationship. But on average, from what I've read, from what I've experienced in my own relationship, every 3 to 5 days, no more than a week, week in and week out, you need to be having sex with your husband. And you need to enjoy it. He wants you to enjoy it. He doesn't want you to just lay there and act like you can't wait for it to be over. Not only do men need to be respected within a marriage, but they need to feel desired. And it is our job as wives to ensure that our husbands feel desired by us, and that we are available to them on a regular basis to have sex with them. Now, I don't know if your husband prefers you to initiate sometimes, or even most of the time. Mine doesn't. He likes to be the initiator, so I respect that in our marriage. But I know that a lot of men, from what I've read, like the thought of that a lot. So if you have a husband who would be thrilled to death if you initiated and flirted and made it clear that you were interested and that you were available, then that's something that you need to incorporate regularly into your relationship. And I alluded to this in my other video, that your husband's preferences, his desires, his needs are important. In this world, we have been trained as wives to think that men are stupid, that they're pigs, that they're animals, and that the fact that they want sex a lot says something bad about them. But it doesn't. It's the way God made them. And it's a wonderful thing, or God would not have made them to be that way. So there's nothing wrong with their desire to have sex with us a lot. It's good. And even after 28 years, I'm here to tell you that I still have sex regularly with my husband, and it's still good. We desire each other. We flirt with each other. He knows he knows that when he wants to have sex, I am there. I am there with a smile on. And I think that's the way it should be. You don't have to have a declining love life just because you've been married for several years, or just because you've had children. We've been through all that as well. We have 4 children. We had small children in our house, in our bedroom, around all the time. We still made time for sex. We still made it a priority. Where there's a will, there's a way. It can be done, and it should be done. We need to put it at near the top of our list of priorities within our marriage. If he likes you to wear lingerie, go buy some lingerie. It's easy to put on some lingerie and make him happy. I know that the world has made us paranoid about our bodies, but I guarantee you, your husband likes your body. And he will love your body in lingerie. And he will love your body when you take off the lingerie. And we need to overcome our self-consciousness, because it hinders our relationship with our husband. We're way harder on ourselves than our husbands are. And from everything that I've studied and read, because I do study on this a lot, they think we're the most lovely creatures ever. And it doesn't matter that we have stretch marks. And it doesn't matter that we have a little extra weight, or a lot of extra weight, or no extra weight. It doesn't matter about the size of our breasts. They love us, they desire us, and they want us to be available for them. And if we make it a habit and a practice to be available for them, we could just about be the ugliest person in the universe, and they were still going to desire us because God made them to be that way. Things we shouldn't do. We should never reject his advances unless we have an actual, legitimate reason to do so. And you know when you're making excuses. So you don't have to be told what a legitimate excuse is. If he comes up behind you while you're cooking or taking care of the kids, don't treat him like he's a leper. Act like that is the most exciting thing you've encountered all day, to have a husband that desires you. Be thankful for that. Not everybody has that. And if you are the cause of things not being right in this area of your marriage, fix it. Humble yourself and fix it. Put yourself out there. Apologize for your responsibility. And make it clear that you are now available to have sex with your husband like you're supposed to. And don't comment on this post with all that mumbo jumbo about we're not doormats, we're not prostitutes. I'm not going to respond to that because that's just a bunch of baloney. God created marriage. God created a relationship in marriage to be loaded with sex. And it should be loaded with sex. It's a good thing, and we should think of it as a good thing. So, I hope this has helped to address some issues maybe in your own marriage. I hope that it gives you something to think about if you have fallen into the trap of thinking incorrectly about sex in your marriage. And I pray that you have a gloriously, excitingly, scandalously, marvelous sex life with your husband. So have a good day. Go have sex.